In just a few minutes, you had alluded to the fact that there is a whole world out there besides the US and China, and what those countries are doing to innovate or not on AI is critical. And as Dr. Kissinger knows, the world is safe when everyone is doing well and everyone is more prosperous. So Foreign Policy magazine just ran a story today saying AI is going to be very bad for the global south. What can the US do to ensure that there is an even distribution of prosperity from AI?
First place, I think these technologies are not very liberal in the way they work. They don't naturally produce equality. They don't naturally redistribute the gains. The fact of the matter is that a relatively small number of people and a small number of countries who move quickly and can operate at scale, which is sort of what I'm talking about for our nation, we win and everyone else can't keep up. They can't keep up because they don't have the economic systems, they are not smart enough, their educational systems aren't good enough, they can't get the data, or in Europe's case, they have stupid regulations which no one seems to be able to fix. So I spent a decade trying to get Europe to the table. Europe is not going to show up. And the reason they're not going to show up is they have lots of problems, they're not growing, everybody knows what's going on there, but they're not organized around innovation. So as much as we complain about America and everyone hates the politics, loves the politics, whatever, this is an innovation nation. And that innovation is it drives everybody crazy, but it also drives all of our growth. If you look at the global south, the core problem is most of the population is in the north. Do you include India in the global south?
Well, I mean, they would.
So India is an interesting case because India is a counterexample to this point. Mm-hmm. They're growing. I was just there for a week, very close to a bunch of the senior tech people there. And they have a shot because they have enormously brilliant institutions, IITs. Roughly half of the people in Silicon Valley that I work with are South Asians, technically, the Indian and Pakistanis and that diaspora. So I think India has a shot. I think China's going to win. Russia has essentially, because of the war, put itself into the Stone Age and gone back 20 or 30 years and done horrific damage. That's got to get fixed, but that's not recoverable in the short term. Africa doesn't have the oomph. So one of the questions that I don't know the answer to is, let's pick a nice, pleasant country in Africa that's agrarian, well-meaning, reasonably democratic. When this stuff shows up, what do they do? Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at Europe, the Europeans tried to have it all ways, which makes sense. They wanted to sell luxury goods to China, and they wanted cheap energy from Russia, and they wanted security from America. And that structure is unraveling economically. It's a hard problem. They're going to have a serious reckoning as to whether they want to grow or not. Mm-hmm. But one of the other rules about countries is grow or die. And here's why. In a democracy, you can't redistribute the money. So let's assume we have a fixed budget. So, you guys are in charge of this, you charge of that. And you and I are the elected officials. We cannot fundamentally take money from you to give it to them and vice versa. However, when there is growing money coming in from over there, we can add money to our pet projects or reward our voters or corruption or whatever it is. You would never do this. But if I were misbehaving, I could do that. But